Hari Om. Good evening. A very warm welcome to all of you. Please come. Let's offer our humble prayers, seek blessings, and then move forward. Asato ma sadgamaya tamaso ma jyotirgamaya mrityorma amrutam gamaya sahanavavatu sahano bhunaktu sahaviryam karavavahai tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vedvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat. Shri Chinmaya Sadgurave Namaha. O Lord the Almighty, who also has the divine names Taraha, Shuraha, to such a divine, magnificent, all-pervading, Almighty, together with obeisance we offer our humble salutations to seek His grace, His mercy, His love, His blessings, His affection, His strength, His forgiveness. O Lord, bless us with the divine qualities of Shraddha, Bhakti, Jnana, Vairagya, Prapatti, Mumukshutva. We are asking all these qualities only and only to realize Thyself, to have the first-hand blissful experience of Thy divine nature in our own selves. And we beseech in You that at the end of our lives, we reach Thy holy abode. Om Tat Sat. Today, by the grace of God and the blessings of the Guru Parampara, we are on our Divine Discourse number 336 on the 15th of June 2023. Shobhanakrit Nama Samvatsar, Uttarayan, Grishma Rutu, Jyeshta Mas, Krishna Paksha, Dwadasi, Bharani Nakshatra, Sukarma Yoga, Garajakarane. On this auspicious day of Thursday and the auspicious time of the evening, we all take a firm resolve in our minds. O Lord, na ham karta hari karta, hari preranaya, hari prityartha. I fully understand and abide that whatever comes to me in my life, be it situations, circumstances, incidents, or happenings, through a person, place, or object, I understand, O Lord, that all this is designed by you. And what is the reason? Only and only to uplift me from this ocean of births and deaths. I completely bestow my trust in you, and I take everything as a prasad from you, without questioning, without feeling dejected, without losing peace of mind. I accept everything in my life, and with a sense of akartrutva bhava, abhoktrutva bhava, I lead my life. Om Tat Sat. Our humble salutations to the Guru Parampara once again. Good evening, everybody. A very warm welcome to all of you. So, in our previous class we had studied, I just wanted to add some more facts to verse number 31. So that's the reason I'm just taking up verse 31. We'll read the verse and then we'll go to the second half, what I wanted to explain to you all. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Yagna Shishtamrita Bhujaha Yanti Brahma Sanatanam Nayam Lokostya Yagnasya Utonya Kuru Sattama. Now, so here, if we have to take a brief understanding of this particular shlok, now Lord Krishna is telling Arjuna that these are all what one needs to the yogis who live this kind of a life. What attitude? With the leftovers after the performance of a sacrifice, what we call. And those who consume such leftovers are said to be consuming amrita. In other words, amrita is that which will take us to immortality. Now, what is the hidden meaning, implied meaning of this leftover and things like that? In simple terms, like you're having a meal and you initially you offer that meal mentally to the Lord, and then what is in your plate, that becomes a leftover. Now let's think logically. Did any aspect of what was in the plate, was it taken by the Lord? No. But the moment you made an offering, that subtle energy which was there, that was, if it was offered with that due bhakti and devotion, the Lord has accepted it. And the gross material, the subtle part he has accepted. The gross material with this enriched power and blessings in the form of amrita, that comes into the food which we take. So this way, what is the leftover of an yagna now, if you say? Every action becomes an yagna, where the devotee or the sadhak, he has a feeling that whatever he does with his perceptory senses, eyes, ears, nose, tongue, all that he is offering. He says, "Oh Lord, it is you who is in me, who is seeing this world through my eyes, who is listening to the various sounds through the ears, who is smelling various things through the nose, who is tasting so many things with the tongue, and who feels so many things with the skin." So he knows you are there in between. So this concept we'll discuss at greater length in the revision part. I'll give you various methods of how we can relate this in a much stronger way, where it becomes a kind of a living reality for us. There is smriti and anubhava. What is smriti? Remembering. And what is anubhava? Experience. So here, understand this carefully, because this is the key to getting connected to the world of spirituality. In smriti, what happens? You actually remember something. In anubhava, you experience something. So now what the Vedas tell us is, a person who is into spirituality, he has to have the anubhava but not the smriti, which means what? Your shravana, which you are listening now, it transforms into nididhyasana through the process of manana. Manana is churning. So buttermilk, churning, and eventually becomes butter. So if you want to come to that state of buttermilk, what is happening? A constant churning happens. You understand each and every aspect what is told in the scriptures, and you assimilate that. So now, for example, if I'm showing you this, okay, this is a remote. Now, you have seen this. Now what you say? I'm seeing this remote, correct? Now I say, close your eyes. Now, see the remote. What happens? You don't see, but you remember from what you had seen earlier. You remember that. So now, remembrance is smriti. And actual seeing, now you're seeing here, that becomes the anubhava. Seeing is anubhava. So, our understanding of this Vedanta has not to be by again and again remembering and then trying to execute it. No, it should become a natural process. As you are seeing, as you are hearing, as you are tasting, there is no remembrance. You are practically experiencing it. Get this point correctly. You are practically experiencing. As you experience the world with your sense organs, in the same way, this knowledge, what is given to us, has to be experienced. It has to come to that stage of experience. Now, Shravana is happening. Keep doing the manana and bring it to a stage of Anubhava. Feel what has been told, not just understand. So, in this way, what this yogi, sadhak, he understands everything to be merged in the divine. Now, in another way, in a non-dual, meaning Advaita aspect, if you see, that yogi who has understood what his true self is, he knows I am a jiva as I appear, which this jiva is a bhranti, illusion, meaning what? It was not there some time before, it is now there, and after some time it is not there. That is the illusion or the bhranti, what we call. So he knows that this jiva, yes, 100 years back this was not there, and another 100 years after this it won't be there. So he understands that this is by the power of Maya it has come over here. And what is the truth over here? The truth is, I am that consciousness, appearing as reflected consciousness in this body and mind. I repeat, I am that consciousness, appearing as reflected consciousness in this body and mind. You may say this 100 times, you may say this 1,000 times, 10,000 times, which will take you towards liberation. It will bring you to the state of Aham Brahmasmi, of Tattvamasi, of I am Atma Brahma. This way, what is told in the scriptures as Mahavakya, that becomes your practical experience when you don't have to remember. See, many times when we are learning a song also, initially you don't remember. Initially, sorry, it doesn't come to your memory, so you again and again read, and again you try to register in your mind. But after a time, what you do is you close your eyes and you sing that song all with your heart. You don't need to remember. That should be the state of all what we are learning over here. That becomes an anubhava. Initially, it is you are trying hard to remember, and at the same time, you are singing that song. But now, when it has gone deep into your mind, nididhyasana, that is the state of nididhyasana. You don't have to remember it. Just like you know who you are. In the same way, you should know that I am that consciousness reflecting in this body and mind, completely dissolved in this creation. It's all God and God alone. Yagna Shishta Amrita Bhujaha. This way, the yogi leading a life of yagna attitude, yanti brahma sanatanam, he attains that eternal Paramatma. This is what is told over here. Now, what is the situation of a person who does not do this, who are just doing for the sake of pleasing their senses? Don't we see many people? You serve them food. Where is God? When I am hungry, I have hands, I have a mouth, they start gobbling. There is no sense of even trying to understand that there is all these higher subtle things which are there. No, they don't have time. They are hungry. They just got food in front of them and they start gobbling. So now for this kind of people who are just there to please their senses, now what happens to such kind of people? That is what the Lord is now going to tell us. The other day, I was coming up to my flat in a lift, and then there was a young lady with a dog. Now, very well decked up dog. And I know for a fact that the dog is given uh, on a regular basis pedicure, manicure, shampoo, and trimming of hair. All what elite women get things done in the parlor. In that way, the dog is treated. So I just commented, I said, wow, what a life this dog has. It's really lucky, I said. Then that lady said, yes. In fact, my father says that in my next birth, I should be born like this dog in someone's family. And then, because it is a father, she said, I said, yeah, what he says makes sense. Because I know the father also. What he says makes definite sense. Now, she said, no, but uncle, that's not good. No, my father becoming a dog. What is by the time she got onto a floor and then she left. Now, I'll tell you what went through my mind. And why did I say this? I said this because now that human and this dog, what is the difference? There's no difference. What the dog is doing, exactly the human being also is doing. Accepting that you are a human and that is a dog. So if that is the case, you are not tapping the potential what you have as a human being. If you are not tapping that potential, meaning you are exactly equal to a dog, isn't it? And the dog's life is much better. As humans, we are so much of suffering. You have to take care of so many things. What this dog has got to do? It right royally enters the parlor, it gets everything done, it takes a nice nap and it comes out. Who pays the bill? The owner pays the bill. So it, actually anybody for that matter. If we are not rising to the conditions or the level of a human being, then we are no better off than animals. So in this way, now Lord Krishna here, he tells us, you have to make use of your potential. Otherwise, it is a sheer waste of life. Now, I'll correlate this with the present world. What happens, now? Nayam loko asya ayagyasya, which means Nayam loka asti kutonyaha. These people will not even succeed in this world. Which kind of people? These people who have got no restraint and discipline in life. Now, all this shloka was talking, previous shlokas, what are they talking about? About doing yagnas. Yagnas are a focused way of life, not just impulsive, sense-oriented life. There is a meaning to each and every action. So, this spiritual journey, you call it, or enlightenment, you call it, one will not be able to achieve this without restraint, without discipline. Isn't it? Don't you see that? Without those disciplines, can we reach to the higher levels? No. With so many weights on your legs, can you jump? You can't jump. Your legs have to be free to jump. So in the same way, why do you say such people do not achieve much in this world? And correlate to one of the best and most popular author in this world, Daniel Goleman, who spoke about the EQ. He is, of course, a Harvard trained psychologist, a well-known science writer, who gave there are 5 important principles for gaining success in this world. He says success in this world means it can start from your school, your college, regarding your grades, then it comes to even being good in sports, then being good in your relationship with others, being good at place of work, achievement over there. Now This emotional intelligence, the 5 things what he talks about is the first component. He talks of self-regulation. Precisely what does it mean? To postpone gratification. What is this? I want something right now. And although I want, but I have the ability to say no. Now, all of us, we had an ability to say no to this divine discourse, and we could have gone out. You could have gone out with a friend for a coffee, you could have gone out for a movie, you could have gone out to the beach to watch a sunset. All this is, we had an option, but we said no. That is the restraint. What did you do with that restraint? You put yourself to some higher level of achievement, what a dog cannot do. Otherwise, there is no difference between us and the animals which are living. Now, when you do this kind of a restraint and you are able to pull up yourself in life, that is what is self-regulation, discipline, and the ability to postpone gratification. That is what Lord Krishna is talking about here. Now we are discussing about what about this person if it does not have this sense of discipline in life. In the 1960s, there was a very famous psychology experiment conducted by one Walter Mischel. She was in one of the leading Ivy League universities of those days, that is the Yale University. Now what she did was, she collected a few kids who were about 4 years old, boys, girls, and she brought all of them together and she told them, look, she gave each one of them a marshmallow. It's a sugar candy. So now she tells, after giving them, before they could even eat, she says, look, I'm going out and I'll come back in a few minutes. If you are able to wait till I come, don't eat this. If you are able to wait with this marshmallow, then I'll give you 2 marshmallows. And she saw that most of the kids would not hold on. As soon as she left, most of them had eaten the marshmallows. Now the same experiment was done later in the late 70s by the very famous psychologist Philip Zimbardo. Now what he did was, in fact this is available on the YouTube also, he called 2 groups of students and same years, age of about 4 years, and he told them, I'm placing a marshmallow in front of you, meaning he was sending one by one. He did not give it to everybody at one go as Mischel did. So he gives them one. He says, look, I'm going out and I'll come in some few minutes. If you keep this marshmallow without eating, when I come back, I'll give you 2. Now each and every students, you should see their expression. Some are sitting like this and holding tight. They're pressing their eyes, they're pressing their mouth and restraining themselves. Some are looking back. Some are looking, they're pulling their hair. And then some, after some time, they take the marshmallow and put it in their mouth. So what Philip Zimbardo did was, he observed these students after 14 years. Till then he was keeping a track of what they were doing. And 14 years later, when they were about 18, 19 years of age, he found that the ones who were able to hold on till he came back, that is the restraint, they were doing extremely well, be it in academics or in sports or in the extracurricular activities. So now, by this, what we can understand is, in life, if you have to go to higher levels, this restraint of mind is extremely important. If you just do what the senses are asking, the sense perception organs, then you become a slave to the organ. Kinkarasya kinkare kinkari krataha. So these kind of aims of God realization and all that, you forget all that. But what happens is, even in this world, you will not achieve anything. Because one cannot be successful unless one has a disciplined, ethical, and moral life. Kuto anyaha. What to speak of spirituality? What to speak of the upper worlds? Kuru sattamaha eventually addresses the Arjuna as the noble one of the Kuru dynasty. Okay, now we'll move to verse 32. Sri Bhagavan Uvacha Evam Bahuvida Yagna Vitata Brahmano Mukhe Karmajan Vidditan Sarvan Evam Gnatva Vimokshase. So here Lord Krishna is summarizing the whole section in this particular verse. Evam, meaning in this manner. Now which manner? The whole list of 12 yagnas, Bahuvida, many more. All these yagnas what I have given you, now one has to bring this into practice. This is the point he makes over here. Many people, first of all, to listen itself is a big achievement. And out of very few who listen, the next level who achieve are the ones who are able to understand it to the core. See, we all feel that we have understood. And when you understand more, you feel I had not understood that much. Unless and until you don't put in extra effort and understand more, you will not feel that you had not understood to the mark. So this way, he says, you have to get this understanding. Otherwise, you will feel at one point that, I feel, that there is something which I have read, I have understood. But then, what is the test? The test is Atyantika Dukkha Nivrutti. You should not feel upset of anything that is happening in your life. Because you are a Sakshi. What is happening on the road? You're looking from your window. What is happening on the road? Somebody is fighting, somebody is dancing, somebody is speeding. What matters to you? You are just a spectator, a witness. So in the same way, a person of this knowledge, he understands, I am that which is the reflected consciousness in this body and mind. So he has come out of the Jiva Bhava. That one who has gained this knowledge, he will not feel dejected, disturbed, distracted in his life. That is the pure test. So if we have not come to that stage, meaning what happens? You are still to evolve. That means you need to purify yourself. And how do you need to purify yourself? All these prescriptions, what do? They are good. They help to bring about this discipline of body and mind. This discipline of body and mind leads to purification of body and mind. That eventually leads to qualification of non-dual enlightenment or salvation. It's all stage by stage. Discipline, purification, qualification. In Uttarakashi, one of our Swamijis was telling us, they had a satsang, and one person, he says, we have heard a lot of you, Swamiji, in what is the minimum time you can give salvation to a person. Meaning he was trying to basically understand that how long does this take, this process of, entire process of moksha, nirvana, salvation. Is there any specific time? And if there is a specific time, what is the minimum most time we can look at? Now this Swamiji looks at the person who asked the question and he said, bring me a person with a pure mind and within seconds I will give him salvation. Can you imagine this? He said, just bring a person with that pure mind and see how he gets transformed. Now, I'll tell you a beautiful story of Sri Ramakrishna. Can't think of any great example other than Sri Ramakrishna, how he got enlightenment. So we should listen to this story of Sri Ramakrishna Paramahamsa. His guru Totapuri, he arrived into the Dakshineshwar temple garden. This happened somewhere in the year 1864. Totapuri was born in Punjab, and he was the head of a monastery over there. Several hundred sannyasins were there, and from early youth they were trained in Advaita Vedanta. And he was known for exercising self-exertion and unshakable willpower. And he had reached a state where he had liberated himself from attachment to the sense objects of this world. Now, Swami Totapuri was, for almost 40 years, he had practiced austere discipline on the bank of river Narmada, and he was in that state of trance. After he had reached that state of trance, 40 years of rigorous penance, you can say, tapas, he became enlightened, and then he roamed around like a lion free from the cage. Now he visits the bank of Dakshineshwar. Now, see, this is all God sent. He understands that I have a task here. In his entire lifetime, he had not stayed in any one place for more than 3 days. But here in Dakshineshwar, he stayed for about 11 months, it is said. He meets Sri Ramakrishna, and they get into a discussion. Totapuri explains about giving diksha to somebody. Sri Ramakrishna Paramahamsa says, I want to learn Vedanta. Then Totapuri says, only a sannyasi can learn this Vedanta. Now, for that, Sri Ramakrishna agreed to renounce the world immediately. You tell me what needs to be done in terms of initiation of this monastic order, I'm ready. But he also wants Swami Totapuri that I have my mother staying with me in Dakshineshwar, so you have to do this initiation in secretly. So we can't let everybody know about this. And then one would find a appointed day in the early morning hours, what we call as Brahma Muhurat. The place where they stayed was known as Panchavati. And in this place, now Totapuri and Sri Ramakrishna, they are sitting face to face. In this state now, they light the fire a burning flame before Sri Ramakrishna. They performed some rituals. Now, what are these rituals? Destroying all the attachments. And it is very clearly said in the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, attachment to relatives, to friends, to body, mind, sense organs, ego, and the world. So, as he is reciting those mantras, see the power of Sri Ramakrishna. He is able to literally pass on everything from his mind into that sacred fire. And then finally he takes his Janu, that is the sacred thread, and then the tuft of hair which he had, he cuts that, and that also he burns it in the fire. Now, with this, he gives up his entire desire for enjoyment here and thereafter. The Swami Totapuri utters the sacred mantras, giving assurance of safety and fearlessness to all beings. And now this disciple, Swami Ramakrishna, from his guru, he receives a loin cloth and an orange robe. Now, the teacher, Swami Totapuri, takes Sri Ramakrishna to a meditation room, which is next to that place. And there he gives these great truths of Vedanta. I would like to read the very word what is mentioned in this Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, which is told, which is the truth which Swami Totapuri gave to Sri Ramakrishna. Let's understand that word by word. Brahman, he said, is the only reality. I'll go slow. Please grasp everything. In what manner? Feel it. Now you have listened to this several times. Go to a state where you can feel it. Brahman, he said, is the only reality. Ever pure, ever illumined, ever free, beyond the limits of space, time, and causation. Though apparently divided by names and forms, through the inscrutable power of Maya, that enchantress who makes the impossible possible. Now, what are they talking about? That Maya, which makes the impossible possible. Brahman is really one and undivided. Every word has got a meaning of great depth. When a seeker merges in the beatitude of Samadhi, he does not perceive time and space or name and form. The offspring of Maya. Whatever is within the domain of Maya is unreal. Give it up. Meaning what? All that we perceive in this world comes under the definition of Maya. So which means anything which is done with the mind is Maya. This is one simple. Yoga Vasishta tells this to Sri Rama. When Sri Rama asks, how do I understand Maya? Yoga Vasishta says, anything that you perceive with your sense organs is all nothing but Maya. Then destroy the prison house of name and form and rush out of it with the strength of a lion. See, we are all attached to names and forms. Rush, get out of it with the strength of a lion. Dive deep in search of the self and realize it through Samadhi. So how can you do that? When you elevate yourself, when the sense perceptions are no more disturbing you, it takes you to the higher planes. Slowly and slowly you get elevated. And there you realize this true self through Samadhi. You will find the world of name and form vanishing into void. And the puny ego, now the ego has become puny. Today what? Ego is bigger than you. This and the puny ego dissolving in Brahman consciousness. What you have done? That ego, you have crushed it into that consciousness. Because when the mind drops, ego also drops. You will realize your identity with Brahman, existence, knowledge, bliss, absolute. Quoting the Upanishad, Swami Totapuri says, that knowledge is shallow by which one sees or hears or knows another. Sees, hears or knows. Now what are all three? Now relate to this. They are all under perception. Seeing is through the eyes, hearing is through the ears, and knowing is with the mind. What is shallow is worthless and can never give real felicity. But the knowledge by which one does not see another, or hear another, or know another, which is beyond duality, is great. And through such knowledge, one attains the infinite bliss. How can the mind and senses grasp that, which shines in the heart of all as the eternal subject? Now this he puts a final question to Sri Ramakrishna. So Totapuri asks the disciple to withdraw his mind from all the objects of the relative world. Now his initiation is over. So he asks him, withdraw, I have told you everything now. What is about this reality? Sri Ramakrishna is trying hard, but it is impossible for him. One thing which is holding him on is that Mother Kali. His dear beloved Mother Kali is again and again appearing in front of him. After the initiation, Ramakrishna, he describes the event. He tells Nangta, he calls Swami Totapuri, he says, Nangta, I'm able to get rid of everything in this world, but this Mother Kali, my dear mother, is not allowing me. She is again and again coming. So then Totapuri does one very unique act. He takes a piece of glass which had fallen down over there. He takes that glass and he strikes it on his center point, which is between the eyebrows. He hits him hard over there. And at that point, Sri Ramakrishna explains that Mother Kali appeared in front of him and he was able to completely divide it into two and rise into Samadhi. Now, this Samadhi which happened in that moment, it went on for 3 days. Totapuri literally cries. He cried out in astonishment. He said, is it possible that he attained in a single day, which took me 40 years of strenuous practice to achieve? Oh, God is great. So he explains it, this is nothing but a miracle. Meaning a person who has got that pure heart and pure mind, for such a person, you don't need years and years. So what we have to understand here is that if you really have that pure heart and mind, this is something which will come to you as you read it. Manana also will not take time, but don't try to get into that state. Whatever we need to do is we need to only hike up our sadhana. That's the only thing which we can look at. So Bahuvidha Yagya, these many forms which Lord Krishna says, Arjuna, see, I have told you now. whatever one or more or all. Yagna vitata brahmano mukhe. He says these yagnas, here brahmana means Veda. It is not that Brahman what we are talking. He talks of Brahmana mukhe, literally. It looks like from the mouth of Brahman. What has come from the mouth of Brahman? The Vedas have come from there. These prescriptions, take them. And these practices is a kind of restriction. It's not, I'm going to eat one particular kind of diet. No, people now, they eat all fancy diets. It's not like that. What it is you have to ensure that you are not a slave to your mind. And that will happen only when you start observing your mind. Many of us, we don't observe our mind. I and the mind is one and the same. And the mind is the leader. Wherever it takes me, I go along with it. But you distance the mind. Start observing what the mind does and bring in the restrictions. In fact, if I have to give my own example, I come from a Dvaita philosophy, Madhvacharya, Dvaita philosophy. Sri Raghavendra Swami happens to be our guru, which we have been following from childhood. Now in Dvaita philosophy, they have humongous amount of restrictions on everything. Discipline in what way? In terms of cleanliness, in terms of how you eat, how you cook, how you do your puja, elaborate kind of a puja. And most of the time goes only in preparation for the rituals, but you don't get to really focus on your mind. Then at one point, by God's grace, from Dvaita, slowly I was upgraded to Advaita. In fact, then I felt, oh my God, I was so lucky that I moved on to Advaita. Because it was, other than rituals and puja, there was nothing else in Dvaita which was happening. Knowledge was not coming. And once we got Advaita, all those restrictions, all the discipline which we had learnt in Dvaita, that came as great help, because you're doing Sandhya Vandan, you're doing your Agnihotra, you're doing your puja, and then you have a strict ritual that you don't eat or drink anything till you do your pujas. Now see, these are all restrictions. And when we start studying and we get into the higher disciplines of Yagna, it becomes much easier because we already have a background. There you don't do any kind of rebelling attitude won't come because you are trained. So this conscious decision to bring body and mind or my life under control, that's why we need all this. Karmajan vidditan sarvan. Why do we need all this? They become a part of karma yoga. Meaning, other than this Brahmarpanam, Brahmahavi, which is the goal, the rest of the yagnas, whatever you want. Now, after this discipline, you tell me, is it really difficult to achieve anything? Absolutely not. You may take some time, but slowly you will see that everything comes to you at ease. So, Karmajan Vidhi Sarvan means these actions have to be performed. It is not just reading, listening. You may listen 100 times, but unless and until you perform, you bring it into action, they have got no value. I'll tell you a story to understand this better. There was a kingdom, and kingdom meaning there is a king. The king had a great scholar with him, whom he revered to the core. It was such that now the king is seated on his throne, and the scholar enters the darbar hall, the assembly hall. Now, as soon as, those assembly halls are not like our 10 by 10 or 15 by 15 rooms over here. They are like, you can say 200 meters So imagine how much time it takes if a person enters the main door, huge door, from there he enters. By the time he comes and he's going to sit next to the king only. So it's quite some time. And if this Panditji comes, the king used to literally get up from his throne. And the moment he gets up, everybody else in the entire Asthan, the assembly, everybody gets up. You just visualize how it could look. That was the kind of respect the scholar was getting from the king. One day, the king asked the scholar, is knowledge important or your acharan, your behavior or your uh, character? Is that important? Now, he is a Jnani scholar, and scholars give importance for knowledge. He says, hey Rajan, give me some time, I'll answer a question. He goes home. He's worried. His wife sees him. Normally, when he comes back from the assembly, he's not worried. He's relaxed and he has his meal, and then whatever he needs to do, his chores after his meal, he does that, and he peacefully sleeps. But here she's seeing that from the time he has come, he's not even changed his dress. He's not even talking of anything else. He's sitting somewhere and scratching his head. She goes and talks to him. Yes, what happened? Then the scholar explains to his wife. Now the wife is very clever. She tells him, why don't you do it this way? Now the scholar says, yes, what you are telling me appears to be like a good idea. And then he gets into action. What he does is, he enters the asta, the palace. Now nobody stops him. He's greater than the king, like actually, if you see. And he goes into the treasury where all the jewels, gold, money is kept. And he picks up a diamond from there. He comes out. Second day, he does the same thing. Third day, fourth day. Now, one day, a soldier gets suspicious. Is this our Panditji? This scholar is coming daily in the middle of the night. He's not coming in usual hours. What is he doing? So he follows him and he sees he's picking up a jewel. He knows now this person has been coming for the last 6 days. Then he observes seventh day, eighth day, the same thing is happening. He's coming, he's picking up something from the treasury and he's going. Now he goes and tells to the minister. Minister could not believe this. So the minister also observes. And then when he gets that, yes, this scholar is stealing, so he goes and reports to the king. Now, when the king gets to listen to this, he gets terribly disturbed. And he asks the minister, he says, yes, it's not one day I've seen him consecutively 3 days, now it is almost 14 days. Right from the time this is happening. Now the king gets this confirmation. He is disturbed, completely in shackles, because somebody whom he respected more than himself, this is what he has done. Next day, in the Asthan, in the palace, he's sitting on his throne. The scholar enters. The king does not get up. The scholar comes in, walks it up, and he sits on his throne. The king does not even care to look at him, does not talk to him. And at that point, the scholar says, now is the time I need to reply to the king. He gets up from his seat and he tells, hey Rajan, I see a change in your nature. Can I ask the reason why? Then the king says, I came to know that you're stealing. He says, here, these are the 14 diamonds. 14 days every day I stole one. Take it. Then the king asks, if you were to return this back, then why did you steal? He says, I wanted to answer your question. Is Gyan Shrestha or Acharan Shrestha? Now the answer is Acharan is Shrestha than, greater than Gyan. See, you respected me for all the knowledge I had. But the moment you came to know that my character, my Acharan is below a degraded level, what happened to all the Gyan? You forgot all the Gyan I had. You forgot all these years which you had respected me. And you yourself know how you treated me. So this is the reason in life, whatever Gyan we get, if your Acharan is not in tune with the Gyan, then Gyan has got no meaning. Gyan becomes meaningful only when you have the Acharan side by side along with it, in line with the Gyan what you have gained. So in this way, these actions have to be performed. It's not just we read, we memorize, and we know about this. No. Swami Vivekananda says, an ounce of practice is worth 20 tons of tall talk. It's not just reading the Yoga Shastras, you have to do it. So this way, these 12 practices, what Lord Krishna has given, 11 are preparatory and 1 is the goal. One needs to set all that in practice, acharan. Evam gnatva vimokshase. What happens by this? As you keep doing this, you start getting control of your body, your mind, your senses, and not only control, you are completely purifying all this. And that is the time when evam gyatva vimokshase, knowing these means, practicing these, gaining fitness for Vedanta. And by getting this Vedantic realization, what happens? Aham Brahmasmi. It becomes as clear to you as you now know what you are. You know now as a person, I am so and so person. My name is so and so. I am a husband or a wife to so and so. I am a son or a daughter to so and so. I am a brother or a sister to so and so. I work in so and so place. I do this, I do that. You know about yourself as you are confident about yourself from the materialistic world. Now a sadhak who has crossed over all this, he knows, yes, this is there. I'm not saying no. It is an illusion. By Maya it is happening in my life. But my true self is that which is behind this illusion. And he emphatically says that I am that Brahman reflecting in this body and mind as reflected consciousness. This is what Lord Krishna has taught us. Now, let's see what more he has to tell us. He now says, I want to get this. How do I get this? So he explains that in the 33rd verse. I want to reach that stage. You have now told me with these yagnas I need to purify. But okay, after purification, what do I do? Tell me now, where do I go after getting purified? So, how and when and where you need to go and go to the next level, get that gyan. Discipline has come in, but I need knowledge to use that discipline and gain mastery over that knowledge. So that will learn in the subsequent classes. Sri Krishna Arpanamastu. Idam Namah. Now today we'll learn two names of divine names. Vishnu Sahasranama, verse 37. First, let's read the Shlok. अशोकस्तारणस्तारः शूरशौरिजनेश्वरः अनुकूलशतावर्तः पद्मी पद्मिनिभेक्षणः. 338. Taraha. One who saves is called Taraha. Tarayati iti Taraha. One who saves. One who saves from the fear of rebirth. And also one who is a constant protector of the devotees. And therefore the devotees call him as the savior, Taraha. These three terms indicated how Lord Vishnu is the absolute protector of his devotees. He saves us from the afflictions. Ashokaha, which 336 is Ashokaha, 337 is Taranaha, and 338 is Taraha. So Ashokaha is of the body and so subjective sorrows, which comes under Adhyatma. They are which you experience within yourself. So Adhyatma. Then he enables us to cross the ocean of samsara, Tarana, and therefore he saves us from all cosmic pains. That is, after Adhyatma comes Adibhuta. He saves us from the elements, Taraha, and so he is the savior from all sorrows of births and death. This indicates all transcosmic tragedies which are known as Adidaivika, meaning that Narayana can save us from all sorrows contributed by the hand of God. 339 Shuraha, meaning the valiant. All sources of strength and courage spring from the life in us, and therefore the Lord of the universe is called here as the valiant, capable of crushing all unrighteous forces, however well trenched they may be in the world. So to such a Lord who is Ashokaha, Taranaha, Taraha, and Shuraha, we offer our humble salutations. And with offering our deepest gratitude, we seek His grace, mercy, and blessings. Oh, that's it. Now, let's pray to Lord Dhanvantari to give us the right mind and body to achieve what we want in our life. Om Namo Bhagavate Mahasudarshanaaya Vasudevaya Dhanvantaraye Amrutagalashahastaya Sarvabhaya Vinashaya Sarvaroga Nivaranaya Trailokyapataye Trailokyanidhaye Shri Mahavishnu Swarupa Shri Dhanvantari Swarupa Shri 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 Aushadha Chakra Narayanaya Swaha. Om Namo Bhagavate Mahasudarshanaaya Vasudevaya Dhanvantaraye Amrutagalashastaya Sarvabhaya Vinashaya Sarvaroga Nivaranaya त्रैलोक्यपतये त्रैलोक्यनिधये श्री महाविष्णु स्वरूप श्री धन्वंतरी स्वरूप श्री 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 औषध चक्र नारायणाय स्वाहा। ओम नमो भगवते महासुदर्शनाय वासुदेवाय धन्वंतरये अमृतकलशहस्ताय सर्वभयविनाशाय सर्वरोगनिवारणाय त्रैलोक्यपतये त्रैलोक्यनिधये श्रीमहाविष्णुस्वरूप श्रीधन्वन्तरी स्वरूप श्री 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 औषधचक्र नारायणाय स्वाहा। We offer our humble salutations to Lord Dhanvantari and seek his grace and blessings and mercy. Now let's do the Sakshatkara Siddhi Yoga Dhyana using the pranayama principle of 1:4:2. You can do any mantra while you're doing the pranayam. If you can hold breath for a longer time, you can take Mahamrityunjay mantra. If you want to do a little more at ease, you can take Gayatri mantra. Or you can chant one-liners, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namo Narayanaya, or Om Bhagavate Vasudevaya. There you can do 2, 8 and 4. 1, 4 and 2 becomes 2, 8 and 4, that way. Now first let's sit in the right posture. If there is any pain experienced in any part of the body, please relax that part of the body. You could get up for some time, walk a few steps and sit back. Head, neck and spine in a straight line. Relax your forehead. Relax your face. Keep your body and mind completely relaxed. Now let's do the pranayam for a few minutes, and then we will do the Sakshi Bhava. We watch our mind and the thoughts in our mind. Antarika Drishyana with Savikalpa Samadhi. Come, please start our pranayam. Now, after having made your mind peaceful and serene, observe the thoughts in your mind. Without being judgmental, observe the thoughts as they come and slowly they slide away. You will notice a reduction in the number of thoughts. You are the pure witness of the mind, the thoughts in the mind. You are the witness of the prana, the breath coming in and going out. You are the witness of the body. Now slowly bring your attention to your breath. Become aware of where you're seated. ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः हरि ओम तत्सत् श्री चिन्मय सद्गुरवे नमः। Rub your palm, place them on your eyes, and slowly and gently open your eyes. We offer today's Gita Gnana Yagna at the lotus feet of the Lord. Seek His grace, mercy, and blessings. Naham karta hari karta, hari preranaya, hari pritir. Sri Krishna arpanamastu. Idam namama. Om. That's it. Our humble salutations to the entire Guru Param.